Few more games to cover off then on match day 30. Leipzig against Holstein Kiel. Holstein Kiel, they're bottom. You can have a look at the lineups, make yourselves feel good. There we go. Riddle Baku, we like him because it sounds like an L. Ron Hubbard. Hubbled? Not like the telly. Not like not the Hubble telescope. The L. Ron Hubbard, the father of Scientology. He was a prolific writer of slightly risque books, only risque looking back in history. And don't you find that, actually, that some things just don't age well? Yeah, some things don't age well. L. Ron Hubbard novels don't. Anyway, Riddle Baku, which does sound like the plot of an espionage novel set in the Middle East with some blue language, which, again, won't have aged well. Riddle Baku on the right. Christian Baumgartner, we like him. He's Austrian. He's on the left, number 14. Yeah, pretty much it's a 4-2-4, very attacking formation from Leipzig at home under Salt Leur, who's in charge on a temporary basis. And for Holstein Kiel, Steven Skripski playing behind Shotu Machino and Alexander Berhardsen. Three at the back's very common, as we know, in German football. What was our prediction for this game? Was it was going to be a home win? Quite a convincing home win. We had it down as Leipzig winning 3-1. Because Leipzig, in that Red Bull Arena, it's a fortress this year. In fact, arguably, they're better at home than they are away. They score more goals at home than they do away. Even though they've got Benjamin Tesco. That's a shout out there for Games Messiah, a.k.a. Put the Shades On. Yeah, we got that completely wrong, didn't we? There's a lot of surprising results like this coming up in the Bundesliga at present. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it makes sense because Holstein Kiel are scrapping for their lives, but Leipzig are also scrapping to be in the Champions League. There's a black shadow hanging over Leipzig after this fucking woeful campaign, the Champions League, where they only recorded 1 win out of 8. 7 losses, by the way, which is, again, and we said it before, and we probably have to keep saying it until he gets a new job. One of the reasons why Marco Rose, as they say in Hull, Rose, was fired was because of that fucking woeful Champions League campaign. Anyway, and this is a game where they had to come from 1-0 down to save Shoto Machina, the Japanese striker, putting Holstein Kiel 1-0 up. They probably thought, right, if we shut up shop, we could take 3 points, and that might just lift us off the bottom, and we could swap places with Bochum, depending upon how Bochum got on. In the end, it was Benjamin Tesco. Sorry, every little helps, I suppose, for Leipzig. Yeah, clever that, wasn't it? I put an overlay up to prove how clever intellectually I can be at times. But it ended 1-1. It mattered not, right? It mattered not that they brought on the evergreen striker, Danish Josef Poulsen, for his 1000th game. Obviously, I'm being slightly facetious. And Gomez didn't matter because Holstein Kiel kept that Catenaccio Italian-style door bolted firmly shut. That's probably hit Leipzig. Again, in a few games' time, they've got to go and play Munich, which could ultimately decide the Meisterschale. We think it's already over. We think Munich will win that. 2 more wins for Munich and the title's theirs. We keep saying it. What's that done for Holstein Kiel? Well, as we'll quickly look at Bochum in a minute, but you can see there they're bottom. Yeah, they were on 18 before match day 30. Another point on the board means they're on 19 points. We'll cover it properly in a second. For Leipzig, they're in 4th, but we've just made that massive prediction, haven't we, that we see Leipzig making it. And by making it, I'll define it as we see Leipzig qualifying for the Champions League for a 7th consecutive season. We see that happening. Just to put that game in context, was Bochum. Bochum, that, according to our records, is their 5th consecutive defeat. Ryan Rise from Rise Footy Paradise. Won't enjoy that one. He didn't go to that game. I believe he's going to the next one. He had some roving reporters like Surfy who went to that game. Great to see Werder, one of the form teams. That's 4 wins in a row. That's contrasting form, right? Bochum have lost 4. Werder have lost 4 in a row. That's now put them... Is that into 7th or 8th in the table? No one would have seen that come in. Mitchell Weiser A bit of an awkward cunt on my FM save, I've got to be honest. He's he wanted to go. We're like, right, €5 million valuation, off you go, son. We've already got the Italian Maladini, no relation, occupying that slot. Off you go, son. But he decided to stay. We've got to sort that one out, and we will live stream at some point. Like I say, we do live streams where we open stickers. And talking of stickers, I'm going to come on to them in a second, but I've beat myself to the punch. That's my autism gift. Mitchell Weister, uppercut. There's the lineups, by the way. There you go. A gorgeous kit in it, that Werder Bremen home kit. Mixing the stripes with the checks. Yeah, they're the two teams. Great to see Ollie Burke pairing a striker partner, purring like a cat, with mighty Marvin Dushk up front. 8th place, Werder now. 4 wins in a row, that's where it's got them. You know, same points with Dortmund. It could well be, couldn't it? It could well be that Werder Bremen smash a chocolate egg in our face and end up in the Conference League. He'd love to see it, because it's been a while since Werder Bremen played in Europe. But there are a few teams that are vying for those spots, including Augsburg and Frankfurt. And there's a nice segue to the stickers. Oh, he wasn't even on the bench. Otherwise, it'd have made this really funny. Just quickly going to swap that around. We pulled this sticker the other day as part of our live stream. This is Panini Stickers 2024. So it's last season's. Actually, Panini's franchise on the Premier League stickers ends this season. So again, for all you collectors out there, if you do not already, yep, that's smart. It's the last ever season of the partnership between Panini and the Premier League, because I believe that Topps are going to pick up that contract. Anyway, we pulled this sticker. I don't know if you can quite see that name there. This is Mahmoud Dahoud, which I refer to as Sandstorm, because Dahoud reminded me of Darude, and Darude Sandstorm came out as a dance single in 1999. Sandstorm placed in Munich in the midfield, Frankfurt, sorry. But he wasn't playing the other night, which is a shame, because it would have been a brilliant segue. There's your Frankfurt team that did fuck all against Augsburg. Most likely because they were depressed, having come off the back of being knocked out of the Europa League by the Spurs, by Tottenham. Jack enjoyed that. Jack was in the chat with us on Sunday, as bizarrely we managed to pull, and I've thrown them all over the place now, but there's James Maddison as proof. We open stickers on live streams. We'll be doing that again later on today. Like I say, even if you're watching this as a VOD later, there's always later, isn't there? Metaphorically, profoundly, spiritually, there's always later. Anyway, in a live stream of opening stickers, the first 4 were all Tottenham. And that wasn't planned. We didn't even know that Jack was hanging around. And the last one we pulled was Oliver Skip, that Jack confirmed has done fuck all this season. He's played 19 times for Leicester. He's only scored 1 goal, and apparently that was a banger. Was that against Chelsea or Palace? I'm not sure. If it was against Palace and Joel Ward was playing, well, that guy keeps coming up in stickers as well. Joel Ward, everybody. So if he's a Palace fan out there, what can he tell us about Joel Ward? And if there are other Tottenham fans outside of Jack, what do you rate Oliver Skip? And if you could rename the Tottenham Hotspur new stadium, that big air fryer, what would you call it? Jack's very funny quote or comment was that he would rename it the Money Bowl, which was very, very good. Anyway, Augsburg, Defuggers, we're going to Memmingen, like I say, in the summer. It was 0-0. 0-0, and again, for Frankfurt, well, that keeps them up there. We believe that they'll finish in and around this place. Worst case for Frankfurt, it's Europa League. That pretty much wraps it up. No, it doesn't. There is one more game to cover, I should say. Sorry, I've overlooked that one. It was Freiburg. Julian Schuster's Freiburg against Hoffenheim. Now, where did we see that one going? That's not it, is it? That's it. So we saw this been a narrow 1-0 because, again, Freiburg, they're a bit like Hull City, although they score more goals at home than Hull City. They don't concede that many goals. Yeah, they're a bit not as miserly as a Pauli or as a Mainz, but they certainly don't concede that many. At one point this season, they were on a 7-game unbeaten streak. That was ended by Union Berlin a couple of games ago. And Hoffenheim, they haven't won. I think they've only won 4 times away from home. They do score, but they do ship a lot of goals. So we thought that 1-0 was probably about the right scoreline. As it was, it ended 3-2, and it was quite a belter of a game. Similar, but not quite. You know, close but no cigar. If you were late to that game, then you missed 4 goals. And then Lucas Hoyer, that was the collector's item. I believe that's only his 4th goal all season. He got the winner just before the hour mark. There's the lineups, by the way. We're doing things back to front. Tom Bischoff, you will be missed. Only 4 more games in a Hoffenheim shirt before he packs his bags and moves to Munich. That'll be exciting. I know there's a lot of Munich fans that are looking forward to him coming in because he's got a bright future, as has Anton Stack. Love that midfield pairing. And it's a good throwaway not a punchline, but a throwaway pun for my stickers. There's an Anton Stack of stickers. Maxi Egerstein, the hard-working, not saying he's an ugly footballer or an ugly person. He just does a lot of the ugly work in that in that midfield. He burns his meals off because he fucking runs a lot, does Egerstein. He covers a lot of ground. Usually between 11.8 and 12 Ks per game. 3-2, quite a big one. Kramovic, he just keeps on scoring, does that guy. Pops up in the right place at the right time. Hoffenheim, well, they swap places with St. Pauli on goal difference. Not just on goal difference, sorry, because they lost. Yeah, St. Pauli actually... Well, St. Pauli have killed all... It feels like they've sucked the air out of the room. St. Pauli with that draw to Leverkusen, well, that's it. That's the... It feels like the Bundesliga's over now. 2 more wins and Munich can still back that salad bowl and record their 12th Meisterschale in 13 seasons. Hoffenheim is safe, aren't they? Come on. 4 games to go, 8 points gap. We feel it's going to finish with Bochum on the bottom, Holstein Kiel 17, and Frank Schmidt's Heidenheim playing that relegation playoff game in 16th. Not getting the marker pens out yet. I'll probably use a HB pencil with quite a fine, what do you call it? Fine lead? But there's a name for it in there, and I just can't think what it is. I'll put it as an overlay when I've reminded myself what I'm trying to say, but it's quite a fine nib. Still feels like they're safe though, to be fair. Yeah. And then Freiburg, that moves them up into 5th. Surprise package this year. Julian Schuster should be proud. If only they'd managed. There you go. What a reaction video that was. It might look a little bit disjointed. There's going to be a lot. If you're watching this back in the... Well, hopefully... Well, yeah. The only way you've got to watch it back is in a VOD because we didn't do it as a live stream. But when you do watch it back, you will spot that it's slightly... Anne Nicole Smith. It's slightly top-heavy with the title race, Munich and Leverkusen. And then we did make a fuss of what we predicted as the game of the season. Not Union Berlin versus Stuttgart, but Dortmund versus Gladbach. That is still the game of the season for us. We called that one right. That was 3-2. And then we focused on the title race. So, yeah. Let us know what you think about this video. As ever, you can join in the Discord. We've only got 3 rules. No religion, no politics. And laugh with us, please. Not at us. You can laugh at me, I suppose. I'll take it. I've seen a lot in life. It would take a lot to make me cry and fall to my knees. Prefer it if you laugh with us, you know, because we're trying to be an inclusive channel. We're using football, German football in particular, as a means to an end. We just want to build a community and make the world better, right? Because it's fucking hard out there. And if there's any other single parents... fathers in particular that are estranged from their children or don't get the contact time that they should do and are struggling to afford the bills, well, we can empathise here. I can. And again, the Discord is a safe place because those sort of men and other men cry too. We should be allowed to show our emotions, even if our fathers and their ancestors were pretty fucking stiff. This is a different world. Yeah, this is a very... Let's embrace the wokeness, right? Let's embrace the fact that we can show our emotions to other men. And that's it. Like, subscribe. Auf Wiedersehen.